What is going on, guys? It's me, Robert, and today I'll be reviewing Dragon Ball Z Revival of F. It's a movie that came out in Japan April 18th, my birthday, this year, but it finally made its way over here stateside with limited screenings here in America. So I finally got to see this film in its entirety, and it's not a bad film, but it could have been a better film, and I'm going to explain my reasoning behind that. But pretty much, I'm going to be analyzing this film for its plot, the major theme, or what it was, the message it was trying to get across to its audience, and ultimately does it work. And at the end, I have my grading scale that you'll be able to see, where I base it on how much value is this movie to the dollar. And I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. Alright, so I'm going to give you a basic rundown of the plot. This will have spoilers, so if you've not seen the movie, you don't want me to spoil it, you need to leave, like, right now. And I'll give you, like, a few seconds to go ahead and click out the video before I start talking. Alright, let's get into it. So, pretty much, Pilaf's gang has been gathering the Dragon Balls, and Frieza's army is working with them. They don't explain why they started working together. But pretty much, they get the Dragon Balls, they revive Frieza, and then, well, actually, they revive all his body parts that Trunks cut up. And then they send it to their pretty much rejuvenation tank where he's healed. And then Frieza is back and he's like, I want revenge on the Saiyans who killed me. I'm going to go train so I can become stronger. He goes trains for 6 months and then he comes back to Earth and he's ready to mess stuff up. And he brings 1,000 soldiers with him as well, looking for Goku so he can get his revenge on him. That's pretty much the basic plot premise for this movie. They do introduce some characters. They introduced a new character whose name will be on the screen now when I get it. But I have a picture of him here. He's like a galactic police officer. They introduced him for this film. I don't know if there's a special reason for this. I'll look into it and I guess I'll add it in like maybe the comment section below. The major theme I took from this movie was that you can be strong but not invincible. In which case, we're talking about Goku and Vegeta's training with Whis and their weaknesses that they have despite being so strong as individuals. I felt like the movie was trying to explore the weaknesses of these characters who, for a long time, have just been more or less invincible and just hitting things really hard and then winning. And not really analyzing their different fighting styles. So I felt like this was a good approach to add more character depth to Goku and Vegeta and the dynamic between the two. I felt like this was pretty much the major theme of this movie. And of course, revenge for Frieza, because Frieza wants revenge. So those are the two major themes that this movie had. But do they work? Well, let's take a look at theme 1, with Goku and Vegeta's weaknesses as far as fighting. Does this theme work? Well, not as well as you would hope. They do play on the fact that Goku gets overconfident in his fights when he's winning and that he lets his guard down. But the way they executed it in this film was rather poor to me. For those of you who aren't aware, Goku is killed in this movie, or mortally wounded. He gets shot by like this ring, by this guy in this picture here called Sorbet. They didn't really classify what the ring was. Frieza just said it was like a rifle, so maybe was it a special rifle? We don't know. This pretty much pierces Goku during his Super Saiyan God transformation. And then Goku falls down and Frieza pretty much wins the battle. And this is supposed to display how Goku always is overconfident and lets his guard down to his enemies when he feels as though he's won the fight. But it doesn't work all that well. And this is why. So, for those of you who don't know, they didn't explain it in the English translation. But when Goku and Vegeta are training with Whis, they actually obtain the powers of the original Super Saiyan God from the Battle of the Gods movie. So that's their new base form, where they have access to the God power, in which case they're called Saiyans Beyond God, according to the Dragon Ball Wiki. So Goku's new normal form is the Dragon Ball, the red Dragon Ball God from the other movie. And so they got a massive power jump, although they didn't explain how Vegeta got to this power, but we're just going to leave that alone until a little bit later. So Goku has all of this power. He has the power of a god, essentially, and what takes him out is a rifle. Not like a special god-killing rifle, just a rifle, as Frieza says. Oh wow, it just took a rifle to kill you.
やっぱりあなたが弱点でしたね。あなた、強すぎるがゆえについ油断をしてしまう悪い癖があるんですよ。あんなに強靭な肉体なのに、ただの光線銃で倒れてしまった。
Now, becomes a problem because Goku's been fighting Golden Form Frieza, who is stronger than him, and has been taking constant ki blasts to the face, getting hit by a god.
力を入れすぎてしまいました。
And none of these attacks pierce him, but this one weapon does. And they never explain why. So that's something that they handled poorly to me. If I were to work on that concept or theme that Goku lets his guard down, I would have had Frieza pretend to power down and be like, wow, you've beaten me. You've hidden me out of my ultimate evolution form. And then when Goku lets his guard down, Frieza instantaneously powers up and then shoots him with a death beam like point blank. To be like, oh look, you let your guard down again and I'm exploiting it this time. I think it would have worked better like that. That way you can be like, oh, well, a god took out a god instead of a rifle took out a god. Next thing we're going to get on is Frieza's revenge against the Saiyans. Honestly, in this movie, you're not going to see Frieza as a major threat. And this is because Frieza has softened up since he's been dead. He's actually talking with like the Z Fighters and the Earthlings. He's not really doing much killing in this movie. So if you're expecting to see that ruthless tyrant from the show that you love to hate, he doesn't make an appearance here, I'm afraid. So you're going to be a little bit disappointed with that. In fact, even when Goku's been shot by that rifle and he's there torturing him, just making him like scream and stuff and slapping him around, he still doesn't kill Goku. Because he's like, oh, well, I could kill you, but go ahead, Vegeta, you go do it instead, since I seem like y'all were punching each other earlier. Which is a little bit unbelievable. He's been talking about how he's been wanting revenge on the Saiyans for like since the Trunks saga. He came back to Earth like, Goku, I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna kill all your friends, you're gonna get back here, and then I'm gonna kill you too. But in this movie, he has him right there, pretty much dying at his feet, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna kill you. That was hard for me to believe. So you're probably asking yourself, what else doesn't work with this movie? And I'm going to get into it. So the first thing I'm going to address is Gohan in this movie. Gohan in this movie was a mistake. The way that they portrayed Gohan in this movie, I would argue, is terrible. Because Gohan, for those who don't know, canonly at the end of the Dragon Ball Z manga, he was the strongest single-body Saiyan. So, like, he was over his father's Super Saiyan 3 form. He was even stronger than Gotenks. Just in his Mystic, as he's known, Ultimate Gohan. Pretty much when he was fighting Super Buu. He was really, really strong. And I know that this movie doesn't take place too much further after, like, Z ended. I can get the exact time. That way you guys know. Or if you do know the exact time, by all means, share it in the comments below. But not that much time has passed to where he could drop so low in power. And in this movie, you're going to see it when he's fighting this no-name Frieza soldiers that even Master Roshi can take on. And it's not like Gohan's taking on a lot of them and just beating them. He's looking like pretty much the minor characters like Tien, Master Roshi, sadly Piccolo, and this new galactic police officer who's fighting these soldiers as well. It looks like Piccolo and Gohan are the ones holding their own, along with Curly and Tien. But to jump from being the strongest single-blooded Saiyan to pretty much minor character status and like X amount of years, I felt as though that was a mistake. And it's an overarching mistake that this movie tends to do, in which they tell you about how strong someone is, but not show you. Upon doing research for this film when it first came out, I was looking at the strength levels for the characters, and they were saying that the I'm not gonna call them Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. That's a little bit wordy for me, but I'm gonna call it True Super Saiyan God from this point on. Watch Qaamans videos or Qaamans Land's videos. I'll link to some of his in the description below if you like Dragon Ball Z discussions. But the True Super Saiyan God is like here. Golden Frieza is like here, and then Beerus is here. And they said if they Goku and Vegeta were to work together, that they would have beaten Golden Frieza. Now, that's nice that they have like these power scaling so for you to know, but you don't get to see this in the film. And that's part of the problem, because we came to see a Dragon Ball Z film with, you know, really good action, or not really good, great action. This is what Dragon Ball is known for. It's his calling card.
This is going to be quite the epic battle.
Sure as hell won't be an easy one.
Catch a sneak peek of Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F next Saturday during DBZ Kai.
Is that it's one of the best, if not the best, action anime out there. But they take that title and they kind of don't know what they want to be. They take the action from Dragon Ball and they try to add more comedy to it to get back to its roots of Dragon Ball. And when you put these together, where you're supposed to be able to joke and laugh with Frieza, but at the same time take him seriously as a credible threat, it's hard to do. Eventually, him saying he's going to destroy the planet becomes an empty threat, in which case, like, okay, whatever, Frieza, you said you're going to destroy the planet and you haven't done it yet, so get up, piss or get off the pot. I kind of felt this way while I was watching this film, and this pretty much is going to go on into the True Super Saiyan God itself. They tell you that this is the strongest ever. Like, this is a new form, and it is supposed to be just spectacular. But when you watch the film, you never get that feeling. Even with the transformation sequence. You know, Dragon Ball Z is known for its flashy transformations when they go into Super Saiyans, especially for the first time. It's this grand sequence where pretty much them screaming for like weeks, and then they finally achieve this power, and it looks awesome. For this movie, you kind of just see them flash blue and black, like in this picture, and then like they're there, like the little blue disintegrates, and then bam, they're Super Saiyan God. I felt like these transformations were weak, especially for a series known for flashy transformations. And the Super Saiyan God, or True Super Saiyan God, when you see it in action, you're not really feeling like it's doing that much. You're not feeling the impact of those punches like you used to when Goku went Super Saiyan or Vegeta went Super Saiyan. You're not feeling those super heavy blows, those gut blows that they constantly do. You're not feeling like they're really hurting each other. So this form overall, we're told that it's strong, but it appears weak. Same goes for Golden Frieza as well, which is just in my opinion, a cheap palette swap, making Frieza's white skin into gold. And they didn't really explain why they did it in the English film, but in the Japanese translation, I believe Frieza did it, so he was like, now you'll see what it's like to fear a Golden Warrior. They didn't really say that in the English film, but this is just Frieza turning gold just cuz. I guess he can change his color at whim, and that's what they wanted, just to make a new form. I believe they should have made a new form altogether. But even Frieza's ultimate form with his ultimate power that's supposed to make the true Super Saiyan God struggle doesn't really you don't see it. Goku tells you, oh man, I'm really struggling here. It's not really shown that he's struggling.
ほらちょっと負けてっぞ。そのようですね。
Speaking of Frieza, let me go ahead and get into the 6-month training period. Apparently everything that happened in Dragon Ball Z with Frieza was Frieza untrained. So for this movie, he trained for 6 months, and apparently he reached God powers somehow. It would have been nice if the movie would have spent less time introducing their new Space Police character, and the time they spent in the beginning of the movie, if they could have trimmed out some of those parts and made them shorter, to explain what Frieza exactly did to get stronger. How did he train? Who did he go train with? What did he do during those 6 months before coming to Earth? They say that he trained for 6 months, and then by the time this new character is introduced, that's a space policeman, he tells Bulma that Frieza will be there in an hour. So we don't know what he did for 6 months. It would have been nice for the movie to explore into that period, just a little bit. Did he go squash some rebellions? Did he go rebuild his army? Did he hand select those 1,000 soldiers? These are all really nice questions that I believe the film could have answered, but they decided not to for some reason. A sub-theme they had for this movie was that Goku and Vegeta are really proud, so they fight as individuals, or they'd rather fight as an individual than team up and work together. And they hinted at this a few times in the movie. It was like, hey, if you guys work together, y'all would have beaten Frieza already, and this fight would be over. But because Saiyans are so proud they want to fight by themselves, that they do that. Now, this was a theme that wasn't really explored into all that much. You see Goku and Vegeta training with Whis, fighting together as a unit, but like they don't have team chemistry. So I thought they were going to explore into this more, and that maybe they would have attacked Frieza together once things looked like they were hectic, and that Goku wasn't winning. I thought that was what was going to happen. Kind of like in the Buu Saga, where Goku and Vegeta put their differences aside to fuse to fight the Gohan Azor Buu. But nothing happens with this subplot. Like, they just mention it, and it's kind of seen as a joke. Like, at the end of the movie, he was like, hey, do you think that we should team up more? And then Vegeta was like, no. And Goku's like, yeah, I feel the same way. So this is kind of a problem. And the reason this is a problem, because now that's supposed to be like Goku and Vegeta's character development. That they learned something from Whis' training. And Whis was emphasizing, hey, man, sometimes y'all need to put stuff aside and work together. And they didn't do that. And in this movie, they came in believing that they shouldn't work together, and he left believing they shouldn't work together. So unless this is like a plot that they're going to explore, or a sub-theme that they're going to explore in later films, or maybe a Dragon Ball Super, this was completely unnecessary, and those lines could have been cut from the movie, and nothing would have been taken away from it. Speaking of the ending, Whis pretty much saves the Earth. Well, technically. So, at the end of the fight, when Vegeta's beating up Frieza in his true Super Saiyan God form, which finally showcases some of the form's power, although on a weaker Frieza, so you can't really tell. When Vegeta's about to finish the fight, Frieza destroys the planet. And then all those people close to Whis and Beerus, they get saved in like this little sphere. And they're just there like, wow, he blew up the planet. And he took everyone with him. And it's like, no, Frieza's still alive, and he'll probably just come back later. And then everyone's like, wow, you messed up. And then Whis is like, oh, well, you know, I can just send you back in time 3 minutes so you can fix everything that y'all messed up on. And that is pretty much what happens. So this movie doesn't really have consequences. It's like they could just do whatever they want, and then like it'll just get fixed somehow. Now this is already prominent in Dragon Ball for character deaths. Whenever characters would die, they could just be brought back with the Dragon Balls. But now with Whis' time traveling ability, what can hurt these guys? Like, what can? No matter what problem they run into, Whis can just come and warp them back 3 minutes. And then, like, they can fix anything. I feel as though this is just bad writing on the part of Akira Toriyama. It could have been handled better. Me personally, if I was somehow involved with the plot making for this movie, and I wanted to do something as extreme as destroying the Earth or letting Frieza kind of win, I would have introduced this earlier in the film. I would have had Frieza come back, go do his training, explore a little bit on how he was doing his training. He goes to Earth and he fights Goku and Vegeta, who are a little bit more arrogant because they have their true Super Saiyan God form. And I would have had Frieza not have that little, oh, well, I can only maintain this form for so long. I would have had him as just stronger than them as individuals. Goku fights him and he loses. Vegeta fights him and he loses. And when they are no longer able to fight, he destroys the Earth. And then they can only save a handful of people. And they got a consequence for being arrogant, overconfident in their abilities. And then they learn that they have to work together in order to beat Frieza. And in order to fix what they messed up on, they go to Namek to use those Dragon Balls. But guess who's waiting for them there? Frieza. And instead of fighting as individuals, they decide to team up to beat Golden Frieza, putting their pride aside, and then thus growing as characters. So they're not the same characters at the beginning of the movie as they were at the end of the film. I felt as though that would have handled that theme better without having to revert to time travel. Same with Goku's death, quote unquote, for being too lax when he fights. That could have been handled better if Frieza would have been the one to do that. Like Frieza could have, like I said, tricked Goku by playing on his kindness and then mortally wounded Goku, and then it's up to Vegeta to come save the day. That way Vegeta could have got some spotlight for this film. And this movie, for those of you who are Vegeta fans, thinking he's finally going to get his shine, he gets his shine on for a little bit before Frieza destroys the planet right next to him, which I believe is unfair for Vegeta's character. They pretty much allow Goku to come and steal his kill. And when Goku flies at Frieza, yells his name and shoots a Kamehameha, Frieza doesn't shoot the Earth for some reason. He's scared. He's like, oh man, I'm about to die. And he doesn't do what he was about to do when he did it to Vegeta, where Vegeta was pretty much in his face, charging up a blast and about to shoot him, and Frieza destroyed the Earth. So I felt like that was handled poorly in this movie as well.
二度と蘇るんじゃないぞ。お前たちもね。おいおい。はい。
每次玩完这招，打高差，每次玩完这个。
時間を戻しますよ。急ぎましょう。3分前が限界ですからね。
まさか。
そう、やり直しですよ。
お前、そんなバカな。貴様はもう終わりだ。二度と蘇るんじゃないぞ。お前たちもね、フリーだ。
Overall, Dragon Ball Z Revival of F is not a bad movie by any means. It's pretty enjoyable, especially if you're a Dragon Ball film, but it is not without its flaws. And I think if they took the time to show us what's happening instead of just telling us, the movie will be better. And if they're not going to be focused on being an action anime anymore, and they're trying to add more character development to these characters and add depth, that they should remain consistent with their characterization. If Frieza comes back and says, I want to get revenge on Goku, let him get revenge on Goku. And if Goku and Vegeta are training and they're getting hints at what they need to do to become better fighters, let them actually try that in the movies, and I think they'd be better off. I feel as though if they were to do this, if they were to have done that, the movie would have been better off. Instead of giving, just saying that Gohan was weaker than what he was because he hasn't trained, show us that Gohan is weaker because he hasn't trained. They could have had Gohan fighting Frieza's first form and struggling, being like, wow, I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'm not as powerful as I used to be. I'm actually struggling with this fight. Instead of getting pretty much one shot and just being like, oh man, Frieza killed Gohan in one hit. Wow, his heart started beating, so he can't take a senzu bean. I felt like that was just lazy writing, in my opinion. They should have gave Gohan some room to shine to show that, hey, I'm still the Gohan from the end of Z. I still have a lot of power under my belt. And this guy is out of my league. Instead of just having them stand around saying, wow, this guy's out of our league. We can't do anything. I felt that that was just a waste of time in the movie. So, if I were to give this movie a score of 1 to 5, well, pretty much 20 cents. That's how I'm doing it. I'm doing it with money because people know how this works. If I was to give this movie anything, I'd give it 60 cents to $1. It's something that's enjoyable when you're there, but you don't necessarily have to go out of your way to see it. If you decide to pass on this movie, you really won't be missing much. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Did you enjoy Dragon Ball Revival of F, or did you not enjoy it? Be sure to be respectful in the comments, and let's just get a discussion going.
ウイスさんが言ったように最初から二人で組んでりゃこんなピンチにはなんなかってたまには組んだ方がいいと思うか
それでも俺はごめんだ
よかったオラもだ
初めて意見があったな